What is the eighth wonder of the world? Well, according to Albert Einstein, it's the miracle of compound growth. Hi, I'm Scott Hamilton, a financial advisor here in Austin, Texas. We do financial planning and investment management for clients all over the nation. If you have any interest or questions or concerns, give me a call. Always love to hear from you. So thank you very much. Okay, so let's define what compound growth is. And it's simply the fact that over time, your money earns interest. And then over time, that interest earns interest. So as you can imagine a chart, a growth chart, instead of being linearly with just growth, whenever you start getting compound exponential growth, like interest on interest, it becomes a compound growth chart, exponential growth. So that's the miracle that Albert Einstein was describing, because it takes years for this to happen. But if you start saving early and contribute to your retirement accounts, after 10, 20, 30 years, maybe into the fourth decade, you can start seeing that growth rate really becoming exponential. And I have lots of clients that are simply amazed that they save 10% for 40 years, or maybe 15%, but 10%, and to end up with, $1 million or $2 million portfolio off of not an extravagant salary. And it speaks to consistency and compound growth. So see the attached chart, and it'll demonstrate what we're talking about. So notice that it's hypothetical, right? So this is assume you contribute $10,000 to an investment fund. And then let's assume that you earn 10% a year. Now, that number comes from in between 1926 and today. The S&P 500 has returned slightly over 10%. Not to say that it's going to do that in the future, not to say it's going to do it every year, but on average, for the past 100 years, that's what is returned. So that we can use the past to predict the future it's the best we got. So let's assume it's growing at 10% per year. We got $10,000, and we can watch this growth rate. Now, over 25 years, the 10,000 will grow to 108,000. That's great. Look, you put in 10,000, and you just let the magic of compounding make it go to 108. But what happens at 25? Same thing. 25, it goes to 108. At 35, it goes to 281,000. And if you let it cook for 45 years, say like you start work at 20, retire 45 years later, right? It's $728,000. So that's the power of compounding. A rule of thumb that you can follow is that at 10%, you can roughly double your money every 7 years. So that's you'll see that often in the press as a general rule of thumb. All right. So just like everyday behavior, if you do something every day over a lifetime, over decades, it can make a huge difference. Investing, interest, compound growth, all the same concept. Develop habits, repeat, work, save, earn, and then invest. And then over time, you'll experience the benefit of compound growth. It's very, very valuable. So thank you for taking the time to watch this. I appreciate it. If you have any questions, feel free to give me a call directly, send me an email, and for sure, go to the Hamilton Financial Planning website, subscribe and like. Okay, thank you for your time.